Connecticut's #1 local news. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Words cannot express the sadness and grief that brings me before you this morning. Sadly, we lost 2 exceptional Bristol police officers, and a third was seriously injured as a result of senseless violence. Sergeant Dustin DeMonte, hired in 2012. Sergeant DeMonte was 35 years of age. He is survived by his wife, Laura, and his children, Phoebe and Porter, and one on the way. Officer Alex Hamzy was hired in 2014. Officer Hamzy was raised in Bristol and graduated Bristol Eastern High School in 2006. He was 34 years of age. Officer Alex Ayarato, hired in 2018, assigned to our patrol division. Officer Ayarato is 26 years of age. He underwent surgery for a severe gunshot wound and is currently recovering. Our community has been rocked. Our police department has been rocked.
Today, our hearts are broken. We're united in immeasurable grief for those hero officers.
To our fallen officers' families, we will never forget the sacrifice your loved ones have made. Sergeant Dustin DeMonte, Officer Alex Hamzy, thank you for your service. May your souls rest in eternal peace.
Well, certainly an incredibly difficult day in Bristol and all across Connecticut. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mark Zinni.
And I'm Erin Connolly. 18.5 hours ago, gunfire erupted, shattering the silence of night and changing so many lives forever.
And this afternoon, we have all of our resources working right now to cover every angle of this tragedy, from the investigation to the major outpouring of support.
Plus, what we're learning about the 2 officers who lost their lives and new information on the officer who survived.
We do want to start our team coverage this afternoon with the very latest on the investigation. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Dylan Fearon is live at the scene in Bristol.
And Dylan, we are learning the suspect actually lured officers there. Just unimaginable.
Yeah, Aaron, that's exactly what state police believe, that around 10:30 last night, somebody called 911 saying that there was a domestic violence incident and they needed officers there immediately. But when officers showed up, they were shot at. And according to our sources, the man that shot those officers was dressed in camouflage and had an AR-15 that he used to shoot those 2 officers. Again, we know their names, Sergeant Dustin DeMonte and Officer Alex Hamzy, were shot and killed here last night. And Officer Alec Ayarato was shot and luckily was sent into emergency surgery last night and survived and has now been released from the hospital today. Now, the man police believe did this is 35-year-old Nicholas Brutcher. He is also dead. He was shot at the scene, and Brutcher's brother was here as well, Nathan Brutcher. He was shot too and sent to the hospital. Again, 5 people total, all shot, 3 of them dead. Now, we were at both processions this morning. Dozens of officers, dozens of departments honoring their fallen brothers. And we did hear from the Bristol police chief just hours after 2 of his men were killed on duty.
Words cannot express the sadness and grief that brings me before you this morning. Our community has been rocked. Our police department has been rocked. And to our community, we value our partnership. We need your support.
Now, that is what we know in terms of what happened last night and into this morning, but there's still plenty of questions that we're waiting for state police to answer for us. Why would Nicholas Brutcher lure police to that house behind me late last night? Did his brother Nathan have any involvement? What happened there? What led up to the shooting last night around 10:30? Plenty of questions left to be answered, but as soon as we do know them, we'll let you know on air, online, and on the Channel 3 app. We're live in Bristol tonight. I'm Dylan Fearon, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
So many questions still unanswered. Dylan, thank you so much. And as so many in Bristol and across our state struggle with this tragedy, we are learning more about the officers who were ambushed while responding to that call.
Our team coverage continues right now with New Haven Bureau Chief Matt McFarland, who is live with the mobile newsroom right outside the police department in Bristol with more for us this afternoon. Matt?
Well, Mark and Aaron, the memorial has been continuing to grow all afternoon. Officers actually just brought in a number of flowers because of the rain that we're expecting here, but you can still see the black bunting up top of the police department here as so many folks remember these officers who made the ultimate sacrifice. Now, according to Bristol's police chief, Sergeant Dustin DeMonte was hired in 2012. He's described as being career focused. He worked as a school resource officer at Green Hill School and West Bristol School, and was a cadet advisor with the Bristol Police Explorer program. The 35-year-old was a married father of 2, and we're told his wife was also expecting. Now, 34-year-old Officer Alex Hamsey, who was hired in 2014, grew up here in Bristol and is a 2006 graduate of Bristol Eastern High School. He was part of the Central Region Emergency Response Team and was a cadet advisor as well. He is survived by his wife. And 26-year-old Alec Ayurado, who was shot and injured, was released from St. Francis Hospital late this morning. He joined the force back in 2018, working the patrol division, along with being a member of that Central Region Emergency Response Team as well.
They answered a call to duty, and they responded without hesitation. And that's what they did every night before that. And that's what all our officers do and will continue to do day after day. When I saw it on TV, I asked my neighbor, I said, I have to get down there. I have to buy flowers. I have to be there.
Now, coming up tonight at 5, you're going to hear from staff from a local restaurant. Knew these officers well. In fact, 2 of them were just in the restaurant yesterday eating lunch. So no surprise, just like everyone else, they are taking this news very, very hard. We're live at the mobile newsroom in Bristol.
All right, Matt McFarland, thank you very much. Now, state police identified the man they say lured officers to the scene this afternoon.
And Chief Investigative Reporter Sam Smink has been looking into the suspect. She is joining us live in Bristol with the details. Sam, what have you been able to learn?
Sources say Nicholas Brutcher was waiting for police to arrive with an AR-15 dressed in camouflage. Looking at his social media, you can see that Brutcher was an avid hunter and often posed with guns.
Here's a Facebook page belonging to 35-year-old Nicholas Brutcher, the man police say shot and killed 2 Bristol officers and injured another. In one photo, you can see him holding a long rifle, smiling for the camera. In another, he is holding a deer that has been killed. In yet another, he is seen holding guns alongside friends. Court records show Brutcher got a divorce in 2019. He also had his wages garnished this past year after 2 separate credit agencies said he owed them more than $8,000. Police had been first called to Brutcher's home on reports of a fight between him and his brother, 32-year-old Nate Brutcher. Nate Brutcher was shot and is in the hospital.
The Connecticut assault weapon ban went into effect in April 2013. If you had an assault weapon before that, you were allowed to keep it, but it needs to be registered with the state. If Brutcher bought the assault weapon after that, it would be illegal. Now, police say the address where Brutcher lived here on Redstone Hill Road was known to police. We have asked police for their recent calls for service. They say they are working on that. It's worth noting there's a gas station at the end of the block here, and while workers there didn't want to talk about Brutcher, they say they want to say that those officers will come in often, and the community has lost some great men. Reporting live, Sam Smink, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, a loss for so many. Sam, thank you so much. Our team coverage continues with more reaction to the tragedy and what comes next after the deadly shooting.
And you can also find our team coverage from throughout the day right on the Channel 3 app.
We've got an early warning weather alert out for tonight into tomorrow morning, expecting some heavy rain and some strong wind gusts. Scott and Connor had a lot of coverage on this morning, but we do have some new information to share with you. First and foremost, a flood watch has been issued by the National Weather Service statewide, except for Fairfield County, because we are expecting heavy rain tonight to possibly cause some flooding. And this is a multifaceted issue because we're also going to see wind gusts pick up. There's a wind advisory right now out for New London County. This goes from midnight until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Some gusts in southeastern Connecticut could be above 45 miles an hour, which means power outages are possible. And I think it's possible we even see some isolated issues outside of that part of the state. Right now, in early morning pinpoint Doppler, we've been tracking some showers. A lot of these are still fairly light. This is sort of an appetizer to the main meal of heavy rain in just a few hours. These really aren't dropping all that much. No big impacts from these. But again, we will start to see more and more rain filter in. We've been tracking showers and thunderstorms across New York State. There was actually possibly even a brief tornado in upstate New York associated with this line of thunderstorms, and this is expected to cross Connecticut later on this evening. With it, a couple of stronger wind gusts possibly mixed in, and all this rain that you see filtering in from the south now is what's going to build north and eventually run into that line of showers and storms. If we fast forward to 7 o'clock tonight, we're starting to see steadier and heavier rain across Connecticut with some sporadic downpours mixed in. By 8 or 9 o'clock, a lot of the heaviest rain actually starts to shift to eastern Connecticut. Repeated downpours expected for portions of New London, Windham, Tolland, Hartford, and Middlesex counties overnight tonight, and even through about 2 or 3 in the morning as western Connecticut begins to clear out. Everyone starts to clear out overnight tonight. By 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, we actually will start to see some breaks of sun with mostly sunny conditions possible as early as noon tomorrow. But the big thing we have to watch for, of course, is going to be some isolated power issues as well as the potential for some standing water, especially as leaves come off the trees. Clogged storm drains certainly look possible later on tonight. We're going to have much more coverage on this coming up in your early warning 7-day.
All right, Mike, we will see you in a few minutes. Thank you very much. We will stay on top of the latest as Bristol remembers 2 officers killed in the line of duty.
And we want to leave you with a look at the procession from earlier today through Drone 3. We'll be right back.
NJM. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance.
Down here, Johanna Hayes understands the struggle. Hayes was a lifelong teacher, her husband a cop, living paycheck to paycheck. It's why Hayes fought to lower prescription prices for seniors. But up there, George Logan lived the high life as an Eversource executive, and before that, as a lobbyist. He gave them tax breaks as they jacked up energy costs on us. George Logan's not for us. House Majority PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
We're celebrating the grand opening of new locations in Connecticut with Columbus Day savings at Metro Mattress. Save up to $300 on select Tempur-Pedic mattresses. Or take home a Sealy Firm mattress starting at $259. Plus get 0% financing for up to 60 months, free next day delivery, an adjustable base upgrade, and $300 in gifts with purchase of luxury Chatham & Wells sets. Connecticut's newest mattress specialty retailer, Metro Mattress.
Metro Mattress, the sleep superstore.
Dear Exit Strategy, all your pieces are in place. A tranquil lake, a serene sky, an emerald forest, a secret hideout. Thanks for being there just when I need you most. Always Toyota SUVs.
Get 2.49% APR financing for a full 48 months on the fuel-efficient RAV4 or Highlander. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Most realtors in Connecticut charge 2.5%, even 3% to sell your home. Not at Rockoff Realty.
You see 1%, you're a little bit skeptical to begin with, like, okay, what do I get for the 1%? And we found out that we get everything.
Why pay more to sell your home? Call Rockoff Realty today.
The sacrifice of our veterans can never be fully repaid, and we must deliver the benefits they've earned. Under Presidents Biden and Trump, I passed legislation to support Gold Star families, increase access to mental health services, and improve care. That's why my office was named the only Purple Heart Office of Distinction in all of New England. Our veterans sacrifice everything for our country, and they deserve leaders who honor their service. I'm Johanna Hayes, and I approve this message.
Early warning pinpoint Doppler, only on Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Now at 4, we continue to learn more about 2 Bristol police officers killed while responding to a call last night.
And joining us right now to give us some more insight on the situation is retired State Police Lieutenant J. Paul Vance, our law enforcement analyst. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. You know, police, as you know, believe the suspect lured officers to the scene. I'm curious what your reaction is to this.
That's certainly, it's important to know that any kind of domestic violence call is extremely dangerous, and it's always considered that. Law enforcement trains almost annually to go after safely to these calls. And the luring and ambushing of an officer, I simply say that we learn from it. It'll come into training and goes down the road, but certainly it does not bring back the fact that these 2 officers were murdered trying to perform their duty as they were called to that scene.
I think it also really highlights that there is no routine call for officers. We say this time and time again. They showed up at the situation as they do whenever they are called, and have to be prepared for something like this, and knowing that these domestic violence situations can sometimes be extremely unpredictable.
They definitely can be, Aaron, and it's important that the training aspect kicks in. But as you know, both of these officers were very, very professional. Knew their work, knew how to approach dangerous situations. But when you're ambushed or put under fire like they were, it's very, very difficult. Officer that survived was extremely lucky. And the good part, if you will, is he'll be able to shed light on exactly what took place, how it took place, and provide that information for investigators as they continue to investigate and dissect this entire case.
I know this only happened about 18 or 19 hours ago at this point, and so many people are dealing with so much, especially their families first and foremost, but the law enforcement community as well. When you see the response from the community, how do they go forward? They obviously have to continue doing a job. Right now, there are many on the clock in Bristol. How do they move forward?
It's difficult to. In my 43-year career, there were many times that I've gone to funerals of officers killed in the line of duty, and certainly it makes it very, very difficult to go through that process. Not just for the law enforcement personnel, but for the families to have to suffer through this devastation, and then for the department themselves, it's extremely difficult. But I think one thing that's extremely important, and it's shown right there in Bristol, where people have come together, they've come to the police department, placed flowers, mementos, and have positive things to say about law enforcement. That goes a long, long way and will help the families get through this and help the law enforcement officers get through this tragedy.
All right, retired State Police Lieutenant J. Paul Vance, as always, we really appreciate you being with us, especially during this incredibly difficult time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Aaron.
Certainly some active weather. We've been talking about the potential for heavy rain and strong wind gusts tonight all week, and we're starting to see those signals. So we gave you the early warning here. We said that wind would start out of the southeast and the south, and that's exactly what we're starting to see now. Wind gusts right now between about 15 and 25 miles an hour. Groton earlier today gusted to 38 miles an hour, so some impressive gusts already. Now, this wind coming out of the southeast is pulling in a lot of moisture. Dew points are back up in the low to mid 60s. It feels muggy out there, especially by mid-October standards, and this is a sign that moisture has returned. With abundant moisture around, we're expecting heavy rain tonight, possibly some clogged storm drains as leaves get ripped off the trees. That means we've got a flood watch that goes right through 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for almost all of Connecticut. The exception here is going to be Fairfield County, and that's simply due to the fact that we're expecting a little bit less rain across southwestern portions of the state. Right now in the early warning pinpoint Doppler, we've been tracking showers. Want to zoom in first on these showers here near Enfield. These actually just went right over the top of our radar in Windsor Locks. Pretty light. A lot of the showers that are out there right now are fairly light. No big impacts from these. Another batch of showers starting to move through Seymour, Oxford, and up Route 8 closer to Waterbury. We've also got some showers now that are being picked up on the radar in portions of New London County closer to Franklin, out Route 2, and then back toward Glastonbury, Rocky Hill, Cromwell. And I think that that's really the big story here, is that the showers right now are pretty widespread and isolated, but that's going to change very quickly over the next several hours. By 7 o'clock, we've got steadier and heavier rain starting to build in, with some downpours mixed in here or there. We'll actually see some heavier showers try to build in, especially across eastern Connecticut, and this is where I want you to watch. I mean, this is just a repeated stream of downpours over about 4 or 5 hours, and I think that portions of eastern Connecticut, especially in Tolland and Windham counties, we could be talking about 3 inches or more of rain. These showers continue overnight tonight with mostly cloudy conditions expected right through tomorrow morning. But by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we are nearing full sunshine outside, drying out very quickly tomorrow afternoon, which means if you have plans Friday night, it might be a little bit muddy for Friday night football or anything else going on, but plans should be good to go. However, this is what we're going to deal with in the meantime. 1 to 2 inches of rain across western portions of the state, all coming down in about 6 hours. In eastern Connecticut, about 2.5 or 3 inches of rain coming down in anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. That's a lot of rain in a very short period of time, which is why we do have an increased flood risk. Add into that leaves getting taken off the trees. Wind gusts expected to top out between about 25 and 35 miles an hour later on tonight, with some even stronger gusts along the coastline in New London County. Gusts do relax by the time we get to tomorrow morning, too, which, of course, will allow for any power to be restored fairly quickly tomorrow. I don't think that lingering strong gusts are really going to be an issue. And we do clear things out very nicely for Saturday. Looks like a great start to the weekend. Even Sunday not looking too bad right now. Maybe a couple of sprinkles later in the afternoon. Showers are back in the forecast by Monday. And then beyond that, I think we start to pull in some much cooler air for Tuesday and Wednesday. Locally, I don't think we have to worry about any frozen precip, but areas to our west could be talking about their first flakes of the season. So that's where we really start to see a big pattern change. Of course, our early warning weather alert is in effect tonight into tomorrow morning, and Scott, of course, is going to have coverage tomorrow morning too. Expecting temperatures back in the 60s for Saturday and Sunday, and at the coast, I think we even could get close to 70 on Saturday in the afternoon. Showers Monday and Tuesday, breezy and chilly weather on tap for the middle of next week.
Mike, thank you very much. Turning now to more breaking news this afternoon, where police in Hartford are investigating a shooting on Park Street. Pinpoint News Tracker shows us where it happened. Police say a man in his 30s was taken to the hospital and is in critical condition right now. This is all taking place about a half mile from Parkville Market, and is just the latest in a string of violence in the city in the past 7 days. Earlier this week, police were investigating after a man was beaten to death in that same area.
New this afternoon, we're learning a woman is dead after a house fire in Monroe. The Pinpoint News Tracker showing us this scene on Fox Run just before 1 o'clock this morning. Police say 66-year-old Shirley Lohman was found in the house. The cause of that fire is now under investigation. Right now, let's head outside for a live look over the capital city. Meteorologist Mike Slifer's forecast just minutes ago. If you missed it, you can see it again coming up. You can also download the Channel 3 weather app for your forecast anytime. We'll be right back.
Donald Trump is all in for Leora Levy.
My complete and total endorsement to Leora Levy.
And Leora Levy's for Donald Trump.
I thank him for having my back, and I will always have his.
Levy voted for a resolution excusing January 6th as just legitimate political discourse. And like Trump, she celebrated the end of Roe v. Wade, bragging she's unapologetically pro-life. Leora Levy, she's with Donald Trump, not Connecticut.
I'm Dick Blumenthal, and I approve this message.
Trust Michael's Jewelers to buy your unwanted gold jewelry and diamonds. Get a free evaluation by our professional buyers and receive immediate payment just in time for the holidays at all 10 Michael's Jewelers locations.
An easy, affordable way to update your old, outdated bath. I'm Chris. I'm here with Marcy at NewPro. Today, our focus is NewPro's Bath Solutions.
Chris, we have helped thousands and thousands of homeowners all over New England update their bathrooms with the bath or shower of their dreams. NewPro Bath Solutions is a unique solution to bath remodeling. It's fast, easy, convenient, and most importantly, affordable for every budget. Let's take a listen to this homeowner's experience.
The old shower was your basic white fiberglass shower, kind of plain, and the repairs that had to be done. I wanted something that would give it a different look. The installation process was great. They showed up on time. Eric, the installer, gave some good recommendations on how to do certain things. It went smoothly and great. I really like the seat. It looks very high-end. I think the shower's great. Love it. Thank you, NewPro.
Wow, Marcy, that sounds like a fantastic experience.
Yeah, so many homeowners associate a bath remodel with weeks of work and disruption until we present them with our bath solution. It's installed in just a day or two with the least amount of disruption to their home. With our finance options, homeowners can get their projects done now and pay later. There's an option for every budget. And our bath solutions, they're supported by a lifetime warranty for peace of mind protection. Give us a call. We'll be out to your home as soon as tomorrow. Our bath design consultants, they will present you with an interactive design app where you can create the bath of your dreams on an iPad. And you can visualize what your bath or shower will look like before you even decide to move ahead. Then we're going to leave you with an exact quote that's good for up to a year.
Okay, New England, take advantage of 50% off labor, plus no interest, no payments for 12 months, or no interest for 5 years. Don't forget to ask about our senior and military discounts.
We are back right now with some of the other big stories we're following this afternoon. There's actually some breaking news in Washington, where the January 6th committee just wrapped up its latest public hearing. The committee voted to issue a subpoena for former President Trump to testify. Now, unlike previous hearings, there were no witnesses today. The panel showed new evidence, though, of Trump's plan to stay in power that led to the Capitol attack. They've also collected more than 1 million pages of documents and communication from the Secret Service, including emails and texts warning about the violence leading up to the attack.
Another big story today. Nicholas Cruz, the man who shot and killed 14 students and 3 staff members at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. This happened in 2018. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I'm disgusted with those jurors.
Some very strong reactions from families who spoke after the verdict, many saying they were disappointed and wanted to see the death penalty. Today's decision coming more than 4 years after the deadliest U.S. mass shooting that has ever gone to trial.
Our early warning weather alert is for tonight into tomorrow morning. Still expecting some very heavy rain. A lot of it's knocking on our doorstep. We've been able to track it now through New York State as it approaches the western borders of Connecticut with strong gusty winds. The latest from the National Weather Service showing a flood watch in effect for almost all of Connecticut except Fairfield County until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. As rain moves in overnight tonight, especially as leaves come down off the trees, there could be some flash flooding that takes place, as well as some standing water lingering possibly even into the morning commute tomorrow. There's also a wind advisory out for New London County, where wind gusts could be at 45 miles an hour or higher. And with leaves still on the trees, that certainly could lead to some power outages. And even outside of New London County, I think there could be some isolated power issues. We're going to have much more coverage on this. We'll time it out and talk more about the impacts coming up on Eyewitness News at 4:30.
Also ahead at 4:30, our team coverage continues as support for the fallen officers comes in today.
And right here, you can see flowers being left on a Bristol police cruiser this afternoon. We'll be back after this.
Class, today's experiment is with Darren, a Window Nation technician.
Let's say this represents the ice-cold temperatures outside your home. Window Nation windows are engineered to lower energy bills by keeping the cold air outside and the comfortable air in.
Outside, it's 25 degrees. And inside, it's a comfortable 70 degrees.
See? Aaron is much cooler than Harley.
Hey, he said it, not me. Now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. No payments until 2025. Window Nation, the perfect fit.
For the best in seasonal fruit picking, head to the location ranked Connecticut's #1 pick-your-own farm, Lyman Orchards. This year's crops are especially full and lush, just loaded with delicious, juicy taste. While you're here, get lost in our Ben Franklin corn maze with fun facts about American history and a chance to win cash prizes. For picking that's tops in its field, actually field after field after field. Visit Connecticut's #1 pick-your-own farm. Pick Lyman Orchards and pick fun.
You've heard me say, in my administration, there's a seat at the table for everyone. That's how we passed our anti-crime law, to make our communities safer. By bringing Republicans and Democrats together, we're giving law enforcement the resources they need. And we're tackling the causes of juvenile crime to keep kids off the street and out of prison. I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message because there's nothing we can't do if we work together.
Johanna Hayes is completely out of touch. I'm a single mom. I don't know if I go to the store if things are going to cost the same or if they're going to be more. It's scary.
Democrats single-handedly saved the economy.
Johanna Hayes didn't single-handedly save anything. In fact, she made it worse. Things aren't getting better. Not at the grocery store, not at the gas pump. She's wrong. She just does not get it. I would not vote for Johanna Hayes.
Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
At DraftKings Casino, we give credit where credit is due, in the form of credit. Sign up with DraftKings Casino and get up to $50 in free credits when you deposit $25. That's like extra credit. Download the DraftKings Casino app or play online today. Deposit $25 and get up to $50 in free credits to use on any game. Now, roll credits.
Visit Discount Trophy Awards Center in East Hartford. See our huge selection of trophies, awards, medals, and plaques for all sports and corporate recognition. Peruse our large showroom for discounted items. Call, visit, or email Discount Trophy Awards Center in East Hartford today.
Connecticut's #1 local news. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Thanks for being with us right here for Eyewitness News at 4:30. Our team coverage continues this afternoon on a developing story we have been following all day.
And 2 officers were killed. One was seriously injured while responding to a call in Bristol. Police believe the suspect lured officers to the scene and then attacked them. Pinpoint News Tracker shows us where this happened at a home on Redstone Hill Road in Bristol shortly before 11 o'clock last night. This is about a mile from ESPN's headquarters and less than 3 miles from lake compounds.
This afternoon, we have 3 things we know right now. Bristol police identified the officers who died as 35-year-old Sergeant Dustin DeMonte and 34-year-old Officer Alex Hamzy.
The officer who was seriously hurt was 26-year-old Alec Iorato. He was released from the hospital late this morning.
Now, police have also identified the suspect who ambushed the officers as 35-year-old Nicholas Brutcher. He was also killed.
Bristol is our big, small town. It's also known as the All Hearts City. Today, our hearts are broken. We're united in immeasurable grief for those hero officers, for their families and friends.
Our team coverage continues right now in the neighborhood where this all happened.
Channel 3's Aya Galal has been speaking with people who live there. She is joining us live in Bristol. And Aya, I imagine they are just so upset by what has happened.
Aaron and Mark, yeah, neighbors here are just in shock and disbelief. They're very shaken up and still trying to process what happened. The community here heartbroken after learning 2 officers were shot and killed. And I want to step out and give you a live look at the scene here. You could see Connecticut State Police still have a part of the road blocked off right now, and everything transpired around 10:30 p.m. last night on Redstone Hill Road. This street has several apartment units, so a lot of people heard those gunshots last night. Residents say this area is typically pretty quiet and a safe neighborhood, and at first many weren't sure about what was happening, but then they learned about the tragedy that unfolded. And I've been speaking with people who live in the area. They are just heartbroken after learning 2 officers were killed here.
Once I found out that it was 2 police officers that got killed, it just made me very emotional, because obviously it was something very calculated. They were ambushed, and I think it's sad that now, you know, nobody's safe. Nobody, not even police officers, nobody's safe.
And just a very somber scene out here today. And there's going to be a vigil at Bristol Eastern High School at 5:30 p.m. And also coming up on Eyewitness News at 5:30 p.m. I spoke with some businesses in the area. We're going to have more reaction from them coming up. For now, reporting live in Bristol, Aya Galal, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
We will see you then, Aya. Thank you. The tragic shooting deaths of 2 Bristol police officers has brought great sadness throughout law enforcement here in Connecticut.
It also brings up reminders of other officers who've died in the line of duty. Channel 3's Mark Robbins is joining us now from Bristol. Mark, this is all obviously very difficult for a lot of people to look back on.
Yeah, really, throughout the state, you're absolutely right. The shooting deaths of Sergeant Dustin DeMonte and Officer Alex Hamzy make them the 4th and 5th Bristol police officers to die in the line of duty. And their passing brings severe pain to this department and law enforcement agencies across Connecticut. The Connecticut Police Memorial in Middletown will now have to add 2 more names to the 155 that are already listed. And around the state, members of law enforcement, from patrol officers all the way up to chiefs, are struggling with the loss of 2 brothers and the realization that theirs is a job that requires your life to be on the line. They know that when they sign up for it, but incidents like this bring them a painful reminder.
It's devastating. It's devastating because every officer, every supervisor knows that could have been them going to a call and something like that happens to them. It hits home.
And the balloons, the flowers, the candles continue to be brought here to police headquarters in Bristol. That will continue. Certainly, you've heard about vigils. Coming up later on in our newscast, we'll go in a little bit more in depth into the history of those who have died in the line of duty here in the state of Connecticut. Reporting live in Bristol, Mark Robbins, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Certainly shaping up to be active out there. We've already watched wind gusts begin to pick up. A couple of showers out there, but the big story is still off to our west right now. This right here is the line of storms associated with our potent cold front, and out ahead of it, we've got quite a bit of rain that's expected to build in. Already starting to see more moisture surge up on the west side of the Hudson River Valley, as well as south of Long Island, New York, and this is all expected to build into Connecticut over the next couple of hours. We'll likely start to see some heavier downpours mixed in locally by about 7 o'clock. On the early warning pinpoint Doppler, we've been tracking some spotty showers here and there. The first batch right now moving up through Woodbury and Waterbury, and that's going to keep moving north into Litchfield County, tracking right up Route 8 there. Some showers along 84 out to Southbury too, but not really a huge issue. These are still fairly light, so I don't expect big impacts from these. We've also got some showers in eastern Connecticut near Chaplin. These are all moving into Eastford, Ashford, and north with some showers near Vernon, Tolland, and a couple of showers along the I-91 corridor as well, north of Windsor toward Enfield. By the time we get into about 7 or 8 o'clock, though, I think the radar is going to start to look much more active. So far, the strongest wind gusts today have been between about 25 and 30 miles an hour, with the exception being in New London County, where Groton gusted to 38 miles an hour. It's certainly looking much gloomier and mystic as we've steadily built in more moisture throughout the day, and Futurecast shows heavy downpours mixed in between about 7 and 8 o'clock tonight. That's when we'll start to see steadier and heavier rain move through the state. Notice that in eastern Connecticut, that's where we're seeing the potential for repeated heavy downpours from about 7 o'clock straight through until 2 or 3 in the morning even. It's not until after that where we really start to clear out from west to east, and that means that some totals, especially in eastern Connecticut, could actually approach 2.5 or 3 inches of rain. Elsewhere, expecting a widespread 1 to 2 or more inches of rain. Certainly a lot to cover with this. We'll have much more about the timing, the impacts, and what your weekend is looking like. That's all coming up in the early morning 7-day.
All right, sounds good, Mike. Thank you. Still ahead, we continue team coverage on the fallen officers in Bristol as support for the community continues to pour in.
Yeah, so many people reaching out all day. And coming up next, we will talk with an expert about how to deal with grief when a situation like this happens. Stay with us.
It's Connecticut. It's autumn. It's gorgeous. Till it's not.
Don't let sudden changes stop you from enjoying fairs, football games, and foliage. Trust Channel 3 to give you the early warning.
With the biggest team in the state and the technology to alert you first, you'll know exactly what to expect so you can make plans with confidence.
Get the early warning from the local experts you trust. Chief Meteorologist Mark Dixon and the Early Warning Weather Team. Only on Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
It's tough raising a family these days.
We need milk and diapers.
Milk and diapers. Costs go up, we all feel it, especially growing families. That's why, in the state legislature, I led the fight to cut taxes. And it's why I'm running for state comptroller, to lower your cost while protecting every taxpayer dollar. Because keeping Connecticut's economy strong means making sure every family can afford to live here. I'm Sean Scanlon, and I approve this message.
It's extended. The holiday sale at Pilgrim Furniture and Mattress City. For one final weekend, get 40% off almost everything. Every living room, every dining room, every bedroom. 40% off. Plus, pay no interest for 36 months with no money down. It's your last chance to get 40% off almost everything in our showroom. The holiday sale. It's extended through Monday night, only at Pilgrim Furniture and Mattress City.
You better move if you wanna go. Go ahead, yeah, on a roll. Turn up, yeah, listen to it. You better do it if you're gonna do it. Yeah, I never seen something like this, no. Never seen no.
It's your journey. Own every mile in the Hyundai Tucson. Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson for $239 a month, or get up to $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry in.
George Logan refused to support Roe v. Wade, and they just overturned it. Now Washington Republicans are talking about a nationwide ban on abortion, including in Connecticut, and George Logan would help them, voting for Republican leadership who have promised to do just that. A woman's right to choose criminalized. Women could be punished, doctors prosecuted, nurses too. George Logan's for them, not us. House Majority PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Time and Temperature is sponsored by Aetna Medicare Solutions. Guidance for the Medicare protection you need.
This afternoon, the town of Bristol and people statewide, of course, are remembering the officers killed in an ambush late last night.
Our community has been rocked. Our police department has been rocked.
This is shocking news and can leave many people dealing with grief and a lot of emotions. Joining us now, Dr. James O'Day, the Vice President of the Behavioral Health Network at Hartford Healthcare. Dr. O'Day, thank you so much for being with us.
Very welcome, Erin. Thank you for asking us to be here.
It's obviously very hard to come to terms with what happened for so many, including neighbors who actually heard these gunshots when it all happened last night. How does a community handle grief like this after such a traumatic event?
First off, Erin and Mark, let me say on behalf of our organization, we express the deepest condolences to the officers and the family members that have been affected tragically by this terrible incident. And you're right to ask the question, how do they react to this and how do they cope with it? And I think the first thing I want to highlight is that it really in many ways depends upon the nature of your connection to this tragedy. So those individuals, as we heard on your reports, that are close in that community, in that neighborhood, they're going to experience this differently than people who are also somewhere in the state of Connecticut, but are more distant from it. And so I think it's important that we recognize that people will experience this in highly individual ways based on their direct connection to these circumstances.
But doctor, I would assume it's normal for people who have no connection to this at all to feel sad about it and to feel sad for the community, right? That is a likely outcome for a lot of people and certainly understandable.
Yeah, Mark, every person I've talked to today has been affected by this, regardless of how close you are to it. Everyone's affected by it, and it is absolutely normal for people to have a wide range of emotions in response to a tragedy in any of our communities. And so I think you're right. I think what I see people doing is a wide range of emotions, from anger and frustration and bitterness to feeling at risk. I've heard a lot of people talk about, just like I heard in your earlier reports, a person saying it challenges my sense of safety in my community. And how do I feel grounded and safe again, walking my kids to school, driving in my community? It challenges this fundamental feeling of wanting to be safe in your life.
As we try to process what happened, trying to make sense of really what was just so senseless, what are the best coping mechanisms for people watching right now to try to get through this?
Yeah, thank you, Erin, for that question. Unfortunately, we've had too much practice on these issues from various school shootings and other tragic circumstances. And what I would say is some of these recommendations stay the same. And it's the issue to want to help others is very important. The first thing actually is I always tell people is make sure you take care of yourself first. Until you're able to really feel safe and comfortable in yourself, it's hard to support others. I also think it's really important for people to rely on the natural supports that they have in their life, whether they rely on going to temple or going to church or going to a mosque or going to the regular exercise workout that they go to. The things that bring you comfort and security in your day-to-day life, this is exactly the time that we need to take advantage of the foundation of those things that bring us comfort and bring us a feeling of safety.
Yeah, embrace what we know. Dr. James O'Day, from the Behavioral Health Network at Hartford Healthcare, we appreciate your time and certainly your advice this afternoon.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Erin.
We're tracking some showers off to our west right now as wind gusts begin to pick up across Connecticut. We've got an early warning weather alert out. Scott and Connor had much more coverage on this earlier today. I'm going to take the baton now and to tell you exactly what we're expecting as we start to get into the thick of it later on this evening. The timing of this still expected to be about 6 o'clock this evening until 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. Heavy rain and strong gusty winds are the biggest threats with this. A flood watch has been issued for all of Connecticut except Fairfield County until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Heavy rain overnight tonight could cause some localized flooding, especially in areas of poor drainage. There's something that we don't have to worry about in the winter and in the spring when we get these events is leaves coming off the trees. As leaves get stripped from strong wind gusts, that could clog drains, and we end up with 1 to 2 inches of rain on the western side of I-91, maybe even a couple of higher amounts mixed in along the I-91 corridor. But east of 91, we could see 2, 2.5, or even 3 inches of rain total. That's a lot of rain to come down in just about 6 hours. Right now, the showers out there are trucking along. Hard to even keep up with them here on the early warning pinpoint Doppler. This is just over the last 30 minutes. Quickly moving up Route 8 with that batch of showers. We've also got some showers right now tracking up the 395 corridor from Plainfield, and those will eventually make their way up to Putnam and continue to just watch the radar fill in here. We have certainly moved quite a bit of moisture in, but so far the majority of the showers, the heaviest ones at least, are still well to our west. But I do expect that to change by about 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, especially with winds coming out of the southeast. Plenty of moisture to tap into. Gusts right now between about 15 and 25 miles an hour. Meriden, 24 miles an hour, 23 in Hartford. Wind advisories have actually been issued for portions of our state too. New London County, the only county included, but gusts to 45 miles an hour or higher possible. So there certainly could be some power outages tonight. I think it's even possible anywhere in the state, especially as gusts approach 35 or 40 miles an hour out of the southeast. A couple of things here. One, we've got leaves on the trees. Those leaves act like sails. They pick up the wind. That makes it easier to bring branches down. I'm sure that our iCams are going to look a lot different tomorrow compared to right now. In Torrington, certainly seeing a lot of color on the trees. Same in Middletown here. A lot of these leaves are going to get taken off with the wind tonight. And two, the wind direction matters because most of our strongest wind gusts are out of the northwest and northeast. So trees grow over time to be more resilient to gusts from those directions. When you flip it 180 degrees and it comes out of the southeast with a soggy ground thanks to heavy rain, that could lead to some downed trees here or there. I expect the heaviest showers statewide to be between about 9 o'clock tonight and midnight, but there's just going to be a fire hose of rapid downpours that continues across eastern Connecticut from about 7 or 8 o'clock tonight straight through 2 or 3 tomorrow morning, and then some showers expected. But we clear out very quickly tomorrow afternoon with sunshine expected as early as about 10 or 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Friday night football is going to be good to go. Might be a little bit muddy out there and still fairly warm too. We keep things mild through the weekend and relatively dry, a sprinkle here or there on Sunday. By Monday, we track our next round of showers. This is where I think we'll actually usher in some much colder air. The backside of the storm system Tuesday into Wednesday could bring the first flakes to areas to our west. We don't have to worry about that just yet, but it's certainly going to feel much chillier by the time we get into the middle of next week. Today, we topped out for most in the 60s. Tomorrow, I think it'll be similar, about 67 degrees. Breezy again into Saturday. Some coastal towns may hit 70 Saturday afternoon. By the time we get to Monday, showers build back in. They last until Tuesday. Chilly, breezy weather back for Wednesday with highs only in the mid-50s.
Mike, thank you very much. Another big story we are following this afternoon. Breaking news from Washington. The January 6th committee held another hearing this afternoon.
And the committee has voted to subpoena former President Donald Trump. Channel 3's Skylar Henry has more details from Capitol Hill.
There are 9 ayes and 0 noes.
At its final scheduled public hearing, the House January 6th committee voted and unanimously approved a subpoena summoning former President Donald Trump to appear before the panel.
It is our obligation to seek Donald Trump's testimony.
Earlier, the committee introduced new information from the Secret Service about what happened the day of the insurrection.
Some members of the crowd are wearing ballistic helmets, body armor, carrying radio equipment and military-grade backpacks.
Secret Service communication also detailed prior knowledge about the possibility of violence leading up to January 6th. Each committee member spoke, summarizing their overall allegations that former President Trump was at the center of the attempt to overturn the 2020 election results.
In a staggering betrayal of his oath, Donald Trump attempted a plan that led to an attack on a pillar of our democracy. It's still hard to believe.
The committee will produce a final report on its findings sometime after the midterm elections. Members have been meeting for more than a year. The hearing also focused on the former president's state of mind.
Claims that President Trump actually thought the election was stolen
are not supported by fact and are not a defense.
They need massive personnel now.
There is also new video presented of members of Congress calling for help at the height of the attack.
They're breaking the law in many different ways.
Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now at 4:30, we're now looking at what comes next after a jury ordered conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to pay $965 million to the families of the Sandy Hook victims. It's not clear how much of that money the families will ever see. His company filed for bankruptcy over the summer, and while the verdict was being read, he begged his followers for donations and called the judgment a joke. The final amount of damages could grow in the coming weeks as a judge decides what attorney's fees will be awarded as well. Jones says he plans to appeal the verdict. Sandy Hook families out last night after the verdict was given, saying it was not about the money, calling it a moral victory.
Support for the fallen officers and their families continue to pour in. We take a look at how folks are responding to this tremendous loss. That's coming up next.
Donald Trump is all in for Leora Levy.
My complete and total endorsement to Leora Levy.
And Leora Levy's for Donald Trump.
I thank him for having my back, and I will always have his.
Levy voted for a resolution excusing January 6th as just legitimate political discourse. And like Trump, she celebrated the end of Roe v. Wade, bragging she's unapologetically pro-life. Leora Levy, she's with Donald Trump, not Connecticut.
I'm Dick Blumenthal, and I approve this message.
Hey, man, loving the place.
Thanks, nice, right?
But what's with all the creepy characters?
Oh, them? It's just mascots for my old insurance companies. Yeah, just my bad decisions haunting me.
You should bundle your home and auto insurance with NJM. You could save money without NJM.
Will you take it easy? No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. For scary good savings, bundle with NJM.
Johanna Hayes is completely out of touch. I'm a single mom. I don't know if I go to the store if things are going to cost the same or if they're going to be more. It's scary.
Democrats single-handedly saved the economy.
Johanna Hayes didn't single-handedly save anything. In fact, she made it worse. Things aren't getting better. Not at the grocery store, not at the gas pump. She's wrong. She just does not get it. I would not vote for Johanna Hayes.
Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The sacrifice of our veterans can never be fully repaid, and we must deliver the benefits they've earned. Under Presidents Biden and Trump, I passed legislation to support Gold Star families, increase access to mental health services, and improve care. That's why my office was named the only Purple Heart Office of Distinction in all of New England. Our veterans sacrifice everything for our country, and they deserve leaders who honor their service. I'm Johanna Hayes, and I approve this message.
Hi, I'm Dr. Diana James, head of breast imaging at Jefferson Radiology. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the right time to get your self-care back on track. Between work and family, I know how hard it is to make time for yourself, but mammograms detect breast cancer early, and as you know, early detection is everything. Please do it for yourself and for those who love you. If you're behind on your screening, book your mammogram today.
If you want to know what your old jewelry is worth, or if you're not sure if that unused silverware is valuable, Golden Rule Gold Buyers is here to help you today.
Golden Rule Gold Buyers pays more. Don't settle for less.
Prayers and condolences have been coming in from all across the region all day long.
And the show of support for these officers, as well as the Bristol Police Department and the community, has just been overwhelming. Channel 3's Stephanie Simone is live at the breaking news desk with more. Stephanie, really a moment for everyone to come together here.
This is really hitting home for so many people across the state and beyond. We've been seeing statements, Facebook posts, tweets from police departments, firehouses, and more since early this morning when we found out that 2 officers died and a 3rd was hurt. This morning, black police bunting was added to the Bristol Police Department building. A memorial in honor of all 3 officers has been steadily growing, with people adding flowers there. Special Agent in Charge David Sundberg from the New Haven Division of the FBI sent out a statement that says in in part, quote, "We send our sincerest, deepest condolences and prayers to each of their families and to the brother and sister officers of the Bristol PD." East Hartford's police department posted this on Facebook, quote, "No words could fully express our sorrow for the Bristol Police Department, their families and loved ones. Our thoughts and prayers are with them, and all of us at EHPD are here for you." Support is coming in from beyond our state as well. A group called Brotherhood for the Fallen in Dallas, Texas sent out this post on Facebook, quote, "Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Bristol, Connecticut Police Department and the families of 2 police officers who were murdered last night and a 3rd who has serious injuries after responding to a domestic disturbance and being shot." Also, this really hits home for so many local businesses in Bristol, too. We know these officers, they have a good relationship with the department and, of course, with these businesses. So you'll hear what they had to say coming up at 5. Live at the Breaking News Desk, Stephanie Simoni, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Still tracking some showers out there right now, and another 2 or so hours to go before we really start to see the radar fill in locally. But Futurecast shows heavy downpours between about 7 and 8 o'clock, overspreading the state of Connecticut. And this is going to be statewide for a little while. I think we're going to see our heaviest rain between about 8 and 9 or in midnight tonight. And just watch what happens in eastern Connecticut, though, especially. It's just a repeated fire hose of these downpours that don't really let up until tomorrow morning. And on top of this, we've already seen some strong wind gusts between about 25 and 30 miles an hour, but we'll see more of this overnight tonight, too. So certainly some power outages and some flooding on the table. Coming up on Eyewitness News at 5, I'm going to have much more on the timing of this, the impacts, and exactly when it all wraps up.
Also coming up minutes away, new at 5, our team coverage of the tragedy in Bristol continues.
We will be going back to the scene live for the newest information. We'll also have an update on the officers who were killed in the line of duty.
And we'll also share the incredible outpouring of support for Bristol from the community and departments really all over the place.
And we will debrief with law enforcement experts. Stay with us for continuing team coverage on what has been a sad 24 hours here in Connecticut.